Most parents wait for the first parent teacher conference to check in, but the best time to check in is within the first 4 to 6 weeks of school. Welcome back to the Parent Lounge channel, where we are in a mission to close the gaps, and I love to offer some tips that will work for you as a parent and support your child and ensure a thriving school year. Today, we're going to talk about checking in. Now, checking in does not mean we are looking for grades if you are in traditional schools or performance if you are in Montessori school, but we are looking for patterns. Why should we check in the first 4 to 6 weeks? Well, naturally, this is about the time when the teacher starts to really notice your child's personality, learning style, and social habits. The reason why it's also important for you to check in as a parent is because consistency helps our children thrive. And so when you know what's going on in class and the teacher knows what's going on at home and you two connect, then your child will thrive in both environments. Therefore, if you take the time to check in, you have an opportunity to connect with your child's teacher early on and ensure a thriving school year. So we're going to talk about the type of questions you can ask during a check-in. But before we do, let's make sure we understand checking in requires a specific time. It wouldn't be fair to try to ask these questions at drop-off in the morning because out of respect for the teacher and her plan or his plan for the classroom, this is not a good time. And it wouldn't be also appropriate to ask these questions at the end of the day during pickup time because out of consideration for the teacher, they are getting ready to wrap up, perhaps reset the classroom for the next day and get some ready to go home to be with their families and get the well-deserved rest. As you may know, teachers work very hard. So the best thing to do is to write an email, just in asking a simple email that states, it's been about 4 to 6 weeks. I'd love to connect with you and check in. When is the best time we can both connect? And try to match a schedule that works for both of you. Now let's dive into the questions you can ask. We can ask things like, I know it's been 4 to 6 weeks. I'm just curious to know what sort of activities my child is drawn to or enjoys doing. And what kind of activities have you noticed that they tend to avoid or do not enjoy? And then you can ask, how is my child's concentration level is going so far? Those are very important questions. It gives you an idea what work they love or excited about, what they don't really care for, they might still need to do, as well as their concentration level. Now, as we know, everything we do is to support the child's concentration. So it's really important to really start talking about that so you can have an idea of where your child is so far. The next set of questions we want to dive in are more on a social emotional level. We want to ask questions such as, how is my child interacting with other children? Do they tend to be leaders, followers, or do they tend to sit back and be an observer? You can also ask, do they tend to ask for help? Or do they tend to figure things out on their own? Or you may also ask, when my child gets frustrated, what sort of things have you noticed that calms him or her down? What sort of technique that has been working in the classroom? That way you can also compare what you are aware of at home versus what happens in the classroom. After all, it's a different setting. So just because your child reacts a certain way or at home, it doesn't mean they're going to do the same at school. Or it may very well be the same. However, because they're in a socially heavy environment, meaning that they have lots of other children with them, chances are things may be different. And it's good for you to be aware of what the difference is, if any. The other set of questions we want to ask are around habits of the day. And some of these questions will be about transitions. You can ask the teacher about, how's my child handling transitions? Transitions happen quite often, whether it's gathering for the morning or getting ready to go outside or finishing up a work and cleaning up after activities. You should also ask a question such as, what sort of things that I should avoid at home that may conflict with the goals of the classroom? That's very important because sometimes we may not be aware of certain things that we're doing, especially if this child is in Montessori school. They have a routine of taking work, using work, and put things away. And we might be super helpful or even doing a little too much for them at home. And so we would want to know these things by asking the teacher what sort of things that we should avoid doing at home that conflicts with the classroom goals. We can also ask, what are the routines that we should do at home that will support your goal in the classroom. And parents, remember, checking in the first 4 to 6 weeks of school, it's not about catching problems or catching something that might be going wrong. Instead, it's about building partnership, because the more we know about how things are going in the classroom, the more we connect with the child's teacher, the more supported your child will feel at both environments. So I encourage you to do this, check in very early on within the first 4 to 6 weeks of school, and then get the feedback so that you can work on certain things at home as the teacher also gets to work on certain things at school. And together, you will create the seamless education that your child deserves. So go ahead and schedule that check-in before the big first parent-teacher conference and observe your child's behavior. You'll be amazed at the insight. One of the reasons why I really encourage parents to check in early on, sooner than later, before the first conference, is because you don't want to get to the first parent-teacher conference and find out that there are some challenges that the teacher has been having, and those challenges were not communicated to you. You didn't think to ask, and now that half a semester is gone and there's nothing else you can do about it except looking forward to the next semester. That's half of the school year gone, and no one is going to feel good about that. Not you, not your child. And so you may have a teacher that is proactive and get you in, but you may not. However, the responsibility is ours as parents, because we are our children's first line of defense. We want to make the effort and reach out and connect and find out every single detail. Even if you feel like you have a very good relationship with the school and the teacher, you always smiling at drop off or smiling at the end of the day, that is irrelevant. You still need to make the time to really get those questions answered so you can feel like you really know what's going on. You want to know the lessons that are being offered so far, the work that is being done so far. And so you can have a conversation with your child about it, and then you can support them where they are, and you can support them, the teacher, with the classroom goals. There's only winning by doing that. There's never any regrets by checking in sooner than later. Please take the time to do that, because this will ensure that you have an amazing school year and not one with regrets. So let's make sure we check in and connect and thrive. If you like this video, I encourage you to subscribe so you can get weekly tips. My only goal is for every parent to have a wonderful school year, a happy one. And so let's keep doing our best and show up our best parents, and to continue to enjoy a wonderful school year. Till next time. Thank you for watching. The insights shared in this video are grounded in the Montessori philosophy established by Dr. Maria Montessori, the Right philosophy pioneered by Magda Gerber, and my extensive experience both in the classroom and at home with my own children. I hope you found this information valuable and insightful. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. Until next time.